Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's On at DisneyPlus.com. It's time for our weekly live Q&A. So we're going to be doing, this one is open to all subscribers, in addition to it's being open to Patreon users and also our YouTube channel members. Now there's a lot of questions that have already been sent in advance. So we're going to be doing this one for about an hour. So we're going to be jumping into it. There's a lot of different questions and stuff here. So I'm going to be trying to do as many of them as I can. My dog just and she's growling away. Ugh, you being a bit of a grumpy one. So big hello, thank you so much to everyone. So I can see here we've got Joshua, we've got Kevin, we've got Matt, we've got Caleb, we've got Glenn, we've got the Juice, we've got Matt, Frank, Isaac. A whole host of you are in here. Keep sending in your questions, obviously, as well. You can use the super chat function, and that will help. All of this helps support the channel. And we've got loads and loads of questions. Like I said, loads of stuff. You can all hear me, and you can all see the Christmas decorations. Yeah, I put them up. I was like, do I wait till December the 1st? And then I was like, no, I'm going to do it after Thanksgiving. Half the street seems to have done their Christmas decorations as well. And as Joshua says, never work with children and animals. Well, the thing is, in fairness to them, I've just finished recording a bonus episode of a podcast coming up, and we literally finished filming about 2 minutes ago. So they're just like, woohoo! Right, so let's jump into the questions. Now, there is a lot of questions here today about Bob Iger returning, and there's a lot of questions. So I'm going to try and, some of them I might gloss over. I might do a little bit more at the beginning, and then kind of, there's going to be a lot of kind of repeating here, some of this stuff. So Manmouth says, what do you think of Disney firing Bob Chapek and the return of Bob Iger? And let me know in the comments below if what your thoughts on it as well. So overall, and we talked about this a lot on yesterday's podcast. Me and James spoke about this for about half an hour or so. And I think this is good for Disney overall. I always felt Bob Chapek never had much of a vision to go forward. He was very much about less like cutting costs, which you need. And I do feel he was probably the right person for a pandemic in cutting costs. But long term, that wasn't sustainable. So I only thought he maybe had another 2 or 3 years left in the maximum anyway. So that's definitely something there. I was surprised Iger came back in some ways, but I think in the long run, I think this is probably the best thing. I think he's the guy to kind of get Disney, kind of get it going again. It's Chapek, we'd locked down all the rules and stuff, have just made everyone a bit more, we've all wanted to have a better experience, and the Disney parks experience hasn't been so good. So yeah, so I'm generally not too bad on that one. Joshua said the last time Iger was in control, he brought Pixar, Lucasfilm, and Marvel. Do you think he will do the same, or is he just there to find Disney a new successor? So his main goal is to find a new successor, but he is awful at doing that. We've seen what happened with Chapek, and he's actually failed to retire 4 times in the past. So he's not very good at finding someone to replace him. I also don't think he can go and buy a lot of extra stuff because, unfortunately, interest rates and money and everything now is very much, it's a lot more expensive to borrow money. They've still got a lot of debt from the purchase of 20th Century Studios. They've also got, they lost nearly a whole year's of revenue. You've got to think like Shanghai Disney has only just reopened again this week. It's been shutting. So they have been losing revenue. They've not been able to do a whole host of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff going in there with what's going on. So it's definitely interesting to see how this comes in. Joshua also says, with Iger's return and his tenure going over the date where Hulu needs to be resolved, do you see this? Do you think Disney will be proactive in making an offer to resolve this situation? So we've seen it. I've seen a few live questions in here as well. I think Disney are very much aware that they need to sort the Hulu situation. The problem is with the Hulu situations, Comcast still own a third of it. And there's even a few more other bigger issues in the fact that apparently Bob Iger and the owner of Comcast don't get on. Also, now Comcast know Disney want to sort it, so now they can try and get some more money out of Disney. So there might be a bit more in negotiation. But I also feel Iger is much more willing to maybe spend his way out of a problem, whereas Chapek wouldn't. Chapek might have just been decided to hold on. I am not expecting Hulu to be fixed until 2024. I'm just going to be flat out. I just don't see it. We've got a few ones here. MC says I think it is going to merge. I definitely think it's going to merge, but yeah, and it's like here. Do you think it's Disney will they will sell it? I don't know if they're going to. I think from I would say really Peacock could probably benefit more from buying Hulu for the live TV package. I think that would suit their business better. So I wouldn't be at all surprised with that one there coming in. Like I said, I'm going to do a few more of these questions to begin with. Babak says, do you think Iger's focus more on family-friendly content of Disney Plus and will keep Hulu separate, or do you think he will continue with the current vision established by Chapek? Well, Chapek was pretty much just carrying on with Iger's plan. That was all he was doing. Bob Iger has said publicly in a number of interviews that he does think that Disney Plus needs more general entertainment. He is aware of it. You know, he only left like 9 months ago, so he saw the whole expansion of Disney Plus internationally, and he obviously would have been aware of it all. So I don't think that's a major problem moving forward. And I think they are aware of it. And Iger brought 20th Century Studios for a reason. And recently there was an interview I was watching where he spoke about the fact that there might only be maybe, people might only subscribe to 3 or 4 streaming services. And I think he's very much aware of the fact if he can't have 3 of the 4, that's just not going to work. So I think they are going to have to do things like that to kind of fix stuff. Daniel just says, I hope Bob Iger will solve the problem and fix everything in the Walt Disney Company. I hope he can do, but I'm going to be real honest, and I feel like this is definitely something I've seen over this last week with the internet, there's a lot of expectations of what people want him to do, and in some ways it's essentially what most people seem to want to happen is essentially turn the clock back 5 years. And I don't think we can do that. Streaming is, moved forward during the pandemic. Prices have gone up. We've got a recession. We've got prices of products and everything has gone up. I don't think we can actually go back to how it was. I don't think he's going to put the prices down on stuff. There might be some specials on like going to the parks. I think as far as Disney Plus, I think that price rise coming in 2 weeks will be happening because he's still got that budget hole to fill. He has to fill it and going with and he said before he supports the ad tier. He thinks it's good business. Yeah, so definitely worth looking at it. Kelly says here, with Hulu adding the fast music channels from Vimeo, I think Hulu will become the fast linear pay TV while on-demand stuff will move to Disney Plus. I think that's probably a good idea. I think that's one way of maybe Hulu continuing on as a fast service, and that's free. Lewis asks here, and this one's a lot that's come up. Will Bob coming back affect Disney Plus Star in Europe? I don't being realist, like Star is in like 90 of the 100 plus countries that Disney Plus is in. To remove that whole section from Disney Plus to then launch Hulu internationally would be it just wouldn't work. I don't think people would subscribe to it. I think you can't spend 2 years, you can't take 3/4 of the content off of Disney Plus and then expect people to pay extra for it. The best way is just put the price up. So I don't think that's going to be happening. Let's see where else we've got. So we've done that one there. Here we've got a question from C-Tan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and do more of the Patreon pre-done questions first, and I'll be jumping in and out the live chat. So T-Tan said, Strange World bombed really hard at the global box office. Someday that Disney deliberately doomed its failure by pointing out the lack of marketing. What is your take on this? It's funny with Strange World because everyone keeps talking about how little they know about it. And the thing is, in all honesty, this movie has been promoted in the exact same way to me as like Avatar, really, because I get all the emails with all the posters, all the trailers, all the featurettes, all the little stuff that they put out, all the presentations, the premieres. They've been doing the same thing for Strange World as they did for other movies. They didn't have maybe the same advertising on mainstream media, but they have been putting stuff out there. I do think that they saw what might be happening to this film, and they cut back the budget. And if you take away the rise of Minions, nearly hardly any animated film in the last couple of years has done very well at the box office. So I think there was no point in them spending another $50-100 million advertising a movie which they knew was not going to do it. The reviews I'll be honest, I'm a prime example of someone. I didn't go cinema to see it this week because it's like it was coming out on Christmas, or it's coming out in a couple of weeks. And let's just wait. It didn't seem like a movie I had to go see on opening weekend, like you get with Avatar. I've got my Avatar ticket booked. I don't think it helped being squeezed between Black Panther and Avatar. I think that's not helped it. There's other issues as well with obviously having like a gay character, which might then have had a negative impact, like we saw with Lightyear. The story also, the advertising doesn't really say what it's about. We know they go to a strange world and they meet the dad. That's all we know. We don't really know anything more than that. So as far as I'm concerned, I think it did exactly what Disney expected it to, which is why they started pulling back on the advertising. And I also feel like families are not going to, no, like in a recession and stuff here. It's definitely to me just like, another case of just having just keep spending money on something that is not going to work. I think the movie, I think it's going to be a huge success on Disney Plus when it drops, when people see it. So that's definitely going to be an issue. But let me know, did you go see Strange World? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that one. Daniel says, I hope that Bob Iger will bring back the annual pass program and fast pass. You got a better chance of the annual pass program kind of reactivating, because I think as the recession kicks in, there'll be less tourists going, so they'll be wanting to get in for a while. I think as far as fast pass goes, Genie Plus ain't going anywhere. That's bringing in money. I think the price of Genie Plus probably just needs to go up in Walt Disney World to make less people have it. Fast pass doesn't work. The old fast pass system worked when you understood how it worked and could play the system. If you weren't aware of the system, you turn up there on Disney, you go to your park day and go, I want to go on they've all gone. Well, that's not I feel like the Genie Plus isn't going anywhere. That's going to be staying. They've gone on international. It's working. It's bringing a lot of money. Daniel also said, I remember using Fast Pass whenever I go to Disneyland, and it not only do I get the right time ahead of time, but I love the trouble is with Fast is it was very much like those that knew it and could play the system were having a great day, and those that didn't understand the system, and also if you're like, I need to book my Fast Passes 60 days before you go, or 30, it was how did you know? I don't know. I generally, and also, I think I kind of was around when Genie Plus was being created as well. Jose saw Strange World yesterday, and it was surprisingly great action packed. Yeah, I think it will be. I'm looking forward to watching it. I'm definitely looking forward to watching it. I'm just going to jump in and look at a few of these questions. Mormon says, do you think Star Wars Hub will be rebranded to Lucasfilm so they can include Willow and Indiana Jones? Probably not. No, I think Star Wars will stay as Star Wars. They might just put them in somewhere else. Randy says, hopefully more emphasis on the vast library. Overall, I doubt it will change much. He's only been around to get Disney back on track. I would like movies in theaters, even Disney Plus originals. Definitely feel we're probably going to see more theatrical releases rather than Disney Plus original movies, because they generally don't bring in a lot of money. How much did Hocus Pocus 2 and Disenchanted, how much did that bring in terms of money? I feel the problem is, obviously, they've been cutting back the budget, which is why we've been getting less library content. I don't think we're going to see much library content added, because it's going to cost more. I'd rather they were adding in content that is maybe going to be watched by more people, some more general entertainment stuff. I don't think adding in any more, I think adding in older animated films or classic films isn't going to bring in anyone new. But I'm hoping that we will start seeing them acknowledge that the fact that they've got to put a little bit more on there, because we barely had anything. And it definitely feels like they've been trying to cut the cost down. Keenan says, did you enjoy the Survivor Series War Games? Yes, I watched that one this morning. Definitely enjoyed War Games. So I was a little bit disappointed there wasn't any traditional 5-on-5 or 4-on-4 elimination matches. That's what I would have liked. Keenan says, will there be any changes to Disney Plus since Bob Iger is back? There's going to be some changes. I don't think there's going to be a lot. I think we're probably going to see just more general entertainment will be coming in. I suspect as well we will see. I'm hoping we see a little bit more Vogue content, but I think maybe the theatrical releases might take a little bit longer to get onto Disney Plus. Frank says he wants more money on Disney Plus. Yeah, he's going to need some more money. Streaming is losing money. They can't do it. The Juice says, finally caught up on the Santa Clauses, and I'm super indifferent on the show so far. It's okay. It's fine. It's nice, easygoing Christmas holidays content. No says make more Marvel content, include Hitmonkey, MODOK, The Gifted. Yeah, if they could add all of that content in, that would be good. I'm actually would disagree on the fact of make more content. I actually feel like they've overcooked Marvel, and I think they need to pull it back. Otherwise, they're going to be at risk in a couple of years of overdoing it. I definitely feel like that is, I definitely feel like that is an issue. Thank you very much for your super chat, Caleb. Thank you so much for your continued support. And speaking of war games, do you feel like Damage Control got buried? No, I think it was in that situation that they needed to go over. So I don't think that was a bad thing. I think it's basically setting up Rhea versus Bianca, which is going to be interesting because this is actually all going to end up being part of the new Disney Hulu show. I'm hoping that it will come to Disney Plus, but they're starting to film an 8-episode series for Hulu with with Bianca from the war game. So that one should be quite good. Chris says 2 years is too short for Bob Iger. It should be longer. Well, the thing is, he's still 71 years old. He's still he's just generally got to get somebody else in. Jason says the pay-per-view wasn't as good as all out or Full Gear. I'll be honest, I catch up on all the extra stuff on YouTube. I don't actually watch the full pay-per-views. I don't even know where they show here in the UK. We did this one. Let's see what else. Matt says, I think they should do less Star Wars and Marvel in a couple of years. I agree. I think they need to do less. I think they need to do less is more sometimes. I know a lot of people like more is more, and I want more. You know, there's like people going, there's no Marvel or Star Wars this month. It's like, it's actually kind of nice. It's kind of nice actually we need a break. I think we all need a break from Marvel being there all the time, because we've had pretty much, since the beginning of Moon Knight, something every single week nearly, for the last like 6-7 months. I feel it's a bit like we need a better break. Ricardo says, do you think the real long term is to sell to Apple? Could another company really acquire Disney? I think this is a load of rubbish, honestly. I feel this whole thing with Apple is one person at Disney said this to a newspaper. One person. I would like to, you could just ask, and you could go into a supermarket and find a checkout person and ask them about the company, and if they tell you it, that's what the company's doing. That's not how it. And I also think Apple has got no chance of getting that through like a government approval. They're two big companies. They're just all too big, and governments are like starting to look at this going, Caleb says, I don't see higher chance of Disney buying Twitter. And Disney got no chance of buying Twitter. I was funny watching Bob Iger talk about it, and he just said that it was just a mess and they can't control it. Knoxwave says, how was your day? My day's been really good. Because of Thanksgiving, I've just been doing a lot of articles and stuff in the back end, doing a lot of I've actually been doing a lot of work today. My wife went out Christmas shopping, so I've been able to I've been just doing a lot of catch up. I've been doing that the last few days, a lot of back end stuff on the website. So that's definitely cool. Devon says, I heard that Mickey Says Christmas is coming tonight to the ABC network, Disney Channel, Disney Junior, and Disney XD, and will be streaming next day on Disney Plus. Do you know when it comes out? Yes, it should be out tomorrow. So it'll be out in the US. The new show, I think it's coming in the UK in a couple of weeks and Canada in a week. So it's not coming everywhere straight away. Osmond says, how was your Thanksgiving? Well, I'm in the UK. We don't do Thanksgiving. It was just a Thursday, Friday for me. It's just really quiet because of obviously no news. So there's, like I said, the last 4 days, I've just been like doing a lot of it's been really good because I had this massive to-do list, and I've managed to get rid of at least 2/3 of it over the last 4 days. So I've been really busy, but it kind of was making the most of everything being kind of closed down a little bit. CJ says, everyone wants new Star Wars, making Disney and Lucasfilm together and making new Star Wars movies, and hopefully they'll inspire a new series. Good vibes. I love Star Wars, but I feel like we need a little bit less. Kaylee says, speaking of the Mickey Says Christmas, someone on social media that the claymation reminds me of Robot Chicken. Yeah, it is one of them. Okay, I'm going to do this one. So Jason says, any word of House of Mouse? No, unfortunately, no. I'm going to put this one out here now, and I will. I cannot wait till Disney put this on there so that people have got it, because so many people ask me about this show. I really hope it's on there pretty soon. I'd love that one there. Tracy says, loved Andor, can't wait for Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Bad Batch. Sorry for the absence, motor racing again. Hope you're okay. No worries. Thank you so much for your continued support. Yeah, I'm really good. I'm really good. I'm looking forward to watching Bad Batch. It'll be quite fun getting back into that one. Matt says, I think that Black Panther Wakanda Forever will probably come out either the end of January or the very part of February. I agree. I definitely think that's how that one's going to work. So Suna says, what general entertainment will we get in next year in 2023? I'm going to be honest with you right now, especially in the US, I don't know. I don't know what it's like now with the Hulu situation. My general gut is that the Hulu can't get sorted until 2024, until an independent person. They might be able to negotiate to do it earlier. But now Bob Iger's back, Big Papa Iger. I don't know. It's going to be really weird to see how this will go. So Stacy. So Stacy says, I was wondering, did you like the series The Santa Claus? Yes, I did. I thought that one was pretty good. I enjoyed that one very much. MC says, what big movies will we get next year on Disney Plus in the US? So we've got the new Indiana Jones film. We've got Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. We're gonna get the Marvels. We're gonna get what else? We're gonna get Black Panther. We're gonna get Avatar 2. We're also going to be getting the Haunted Mansion. We'll be getting, what else? We're going to get The Little Mermaid. So there's a whole host of big movies coming. You've also got Peter Pan and Wendy as a Disney Plus original. So that's that one. Let's see what else we've got here. Joshua says, Apple has no reason to buy Disney, only shared interest of Apple Plus and Disney Plus, and Apple could buy Disney like 50 times. It's just not good for them. Apparently, though, they're interested in picking up Manchester United, which was a bit of an odd one. Ricardo says, I think House of Mouse has taken its time because the shorts featured that were originally part of Mickey Mouse Works, so they could not use. Yeah, there's probably some issues with that one. Frank says, I think the reason the Merry Christmas collection is called Happy Holidays in the US is because more of a faith neutral decision, because in the US, some people celebrate Hanukkah, Christmas, and Ramadan. Yeah, you're 100%. It's very much more like in the US. It is much more multiple faiths, and obviously as well with Thanksgiving, it kind of is the holiday season. Yeah, it's kind of like here in the UK, very much more just like it is, like it's Christmas. And yeah, that's just how it is here. No says he can't wait for Peter Pan and Wendy. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. The Juice says, with Iger back as CEO, do you think it's smart to bring him back entirely, or he should have just stayed as an advisor and basically trained someone on how to run the company to evolve into something that's for the modern day? Why would Iger not be a prime candidate to the back and with him back? Well, I think the big reason is with mainly, I don't think Chapek was listening to Iger. That was the problem. There was basically a clash because Chapek wanted to do it his way, and I can see that from Chapek's point of view. You've just been given, you're in charge, but you're going to keep getting like undermined. That's not. I mean, it didn't go great, but definitely not good. Kaylee said, if anything, Apple and Disney will work together in kind of sponsorship at theme parks, right? I don't know. I don't think they're going to be doing a lot on that myself. Daniel says, let's start all over again. Even though Strange World bombed so badly, just to let you know, I saw the new trailer would say now playing. I found critics the critics have actually been really positive about it. They have been very, very positive about it. Let's see what else here. Noxwave says, I wonder why Disney removed the Mantis and Drax episodes from Marvel after they released. Well, they removed them because basically there was a huge the only major thing in the whole of the holiday special was kind of spoiled in the Legends. That's why they had to remove it. That's definitely going to be it. Kayla says, I know most of the MCU movies use Apple products. Only film I know that use Android are Avengers Endgame. And Sony, they have to use. I think that there is a rule actually with Sony or with Apple that the villains can't have Apple phones. They're not allowed them in the contract. So that's why I have an Apple. So for that reason. Tracy says it's November and there's still no Miraculous on Disney Plus. I don't know what is going on there. Distribution is shocking. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like this. It's really bad. I'm really bad on that one. All right, so I'm going to jump back into some of the Patreon ones. So Daniel says, should US Disney Plus subscribers be worried that Bob Iger is back since he never wanted to merge Hulu Plus and or ever put. The problem is a lot of people are pulling back on some comments that Bob Iger made when Disney Plus was launching and when they first launched, of trying to position Disney Plus as that part of the company. So it made total sense at the time. They were pushing back on any idea of turning it into it, and they wanted to make Hulu. And at the time, they still had another 5+ years of Hulu being under the contract. So it wasn't like they could make there was no point making a big fuss over it back then, because they couldn't do anything properly for 5 years. So I wouldn't necessarily go on what he was talking about 4 years ago as that's what he's going to do. Well, hopefully he's doing a town hall tomorrow, so I'm hoping we get a little bit of an update. Joshua, that's about the Apple one. We kind of went that one. And Babak asked the same question about Apple, so we've done that one. Stuart says, do you think it might be a mistake for Disney to hide the 4K remastered Christmas Carol extended edition within the extras tab rather than a separate title? I don't think it's bad, really. I don't think you need, I mean, the 4K version, I'm hoping the movie is just in 4K anyway. But yeah, I mean, do we want lots of same versions popping up? I think using the extra options is a better way of doing it. Joshua says, do you think we will have an Investors Day this year? No, I don't think we're going to have one now this year. It's too late. I mean, we've only really got, 3 weeks left of the year, because you can't do anything in the last week of Christmas. But Iger's not gotten any time to put this together. So no, I don't. I would imagine he might want to do something to kind of boost up, maybe give a proper idea of where they're going to go and try and get the investors back online. The investors are down on Disney right now, so I could easily see them doing one. But it's about the investors. It's not about us as consumers. Mahmoud says, with the demise of the Disney Media Entertainment Distribution team and the firing of Kareem Daniel, what other divisions do you think Disney will create, and which divisions will oversee Disney Plus and Hulu? So I think a version of DMED will look after Hulu and streaming and all of the rest of it. They'll carry on doing this. But the studios are going to have more control over what they're doing themselves, and where things go, and just basically go back to how it was like pre-2021, 2022. And so the studios will have a little bit more control over where they want to put things out. And they've got that control rather than, and I think in general, we're probably going to have a mandate. Everything's going to, eventually we'll have this system where everything's on Disney Plus, so it won't really matter as much. C10 says, do you think the Disney might revert to the 90-day theatrical window to boost box office sales, given the dismal performances of the last 2 animated films? I think we're going to see an extension. Definitely going to see an extension of it. Yeah, I think we are going to see them extend it back. I don't know if it's going to go to 90 days. It might be a little bit later or a bit earlier than that, maybe 60 days. Maybe some of the big movies might take a little bit longer, but I think the 45-day one is going to be coming up. I think they're going to do it a little bit quicker. So definitely think we're going to see an extension. Yeah, I think that's definitely something we're going to see more of with them having to do this. They're going to have to push back a little bit on theaters. I think we're going to see more films going to theaters, but I think we're going to have to wait a little. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think 45 days in some ways it's like a problem really of it kind of goes against them. It goes against them to do that. Let's jump now into the live comments. So Sina says, do you think we'll see Modern Family next year? I don't think so. I think Modern Family is one. Yeah, I don't think that one's probably going to go straight away because there is a sharing deal with them and Peacock. So I think that one probably's got a newer version. Frank says, the soonest I could see Disney buying is fall 2023. So it's going to take a while. I mean, even if they do a deal, it's going to have to go through lawyers and they're going to have to do some negotiating. So it's all going to take a while. Matt says, I think they'll keep movies in theaters longer. I think they will do. Judy says, when is the new Little Mermaid coming out? I think it's May. I think that one's May. Let's see here. Jason says, do you believe that once Paramount Plus starts putting out more animated Avatar series, that subscriptions could get a massive boost and make it competitive with the likes of Disney? I don't know. I don't think an animated Avatar movie is going to move the needle too much. I mean, it will have its audience, but Yeah, I don't think an animated and I'm guessing you're thinking of the anime, not the Disney one. Another thing, I'm desperately waiting for the Orville movie, because if they did something like that, the original Star Trek, and then made I don't know. I mean, I love the Orville. I think it's fantastic, but I don't think they'll make a movie. I think that one might be done. I just think that's more why we've got the Orville on Disney Plus in the US, because I think the show is officially gone, and therefore that's why they could put it on to Disney Plus. I think the same thing with Love Victor. I think that's why they're able to put that one over there. Mamma says, do you think Bob Iger could return the addition of general entertainment in the US, or a possible? I don't think it's going to affect it. I think he understands the system now. I think he understands that they need less. People are only going to subscribe to so many. And Disney Plus has a weakness with not having this stuff in there. Mamma says, how would you summarize Bob Chapek time as CEO from 2020 to 2022? Oh, how would I summarize it? I feel like he got handed possibly the worst hand possible. He got handed a pandemic and a recession, and then not only did he get handed that, he then got handed probably maybe like this year, one of the busiest years of people wanting to go to the parks. So he took advantage of it. He is forever going to be known as the CEO that just pushed prices up and got really cheap and cut everything. And that's what he's going to be known for. And I kind of see why people agree with that one. So I think he was a penny pincher. He was a bean counter, and he took all his money and he's gone. Kelly says that now that Bob Iger's back in the fold as Disney CEO, what are the things he should do avoid the mistakes of Chapek? Do you see Iger bringing back Peter Rice at Disney? I think the only reason to bring back Peter Rice would be if they wanted to make him the new CEO. If he doesn't going to be the CEO, what Dana is doing a great job with the general entertainment side with the TV. It's that kind of thing. It's like she's really good. I mean, Iger's already pulled her up on like putting together this thing. So I don't know if I don't think he can come back to do his own job. Yeah, because he wouldn't have mentioned Dana if he was planning. I don't think so. Connor says, do you think the Wednesday shock drop of American Horror Season 11 means future FX show will land on Disney Plus even faster? I hope so. I really do hope so. Daniel says, if the reservation system gets removed from the parks over the next few months, what will happen to people who have reservations already scheduled? Got my honeymoon in Disney World in May 2023. Well, congratulations on the upcoming wedding, unless you've already had it and you're just waiting for your honeymoon. It looks like what they're going to be doing with the reservations from the tickets point of view is basically I think they're going to be announcing they're going to basically be merging the ticket sales and the reservations together. So if you buy a ticket, you're kind of you've got a guaranteed entry with that ticket. So they're going to basically merge those two together. So that if you buy a ticket, say you buy a 4-day ticket, you've got guaranteed. So you've kind of got your reservation when you buy your ticket. I think with annual pass holders, they're still going to have maybe a reservation system, but it might not be as difficult. Daniel says, do you think Disney Plus originals such as Doogie Kamealoha MD will still premiere first on the Disney Channel, or do you think Iger will nix this and go back to releasing originals on Disney Plus? If they've already done all the paperwork and all the books, they might leave it as it is. I think we're going to see much more. I think we're going to see much more releases on linear and streaming anyway. I think they're going to need to do that. Definitely. Steven says, why not big Christmas Day boxing film yet? Well, I think there is a big Christmas Day movie coming, and I think it's a little bit strange and it takes place in another world, but they don't want to announce it yet because they don't want to wreck the box office even more than it already is. But yeah, so the big Christmas movie is probably more likely going to be Strange World. MC says, Roger, it might be crazy nitpick, but Universal buy the WWE. They could do. They might do. Depends. I don't know if they might be in a place now where they don't want to, because now like Stephanie and that running it. RRK65, thank you so much for your support. He says, do you think Disney will release more movies on physical media? Not really. I think we're going to see some stuff, but physical media is a dying industry. You know, it's specialist. I think probably what they need to do, lean more in on it becoming like a vinyl, where you make them maybe a bit more attractive. You put loads of extras in there. You make it more expensive by putting a book in and put some postcards. Turn it into like something that's actually like a collectible item if you buy it, rather than just a straight up. So I think that might be a way of doing it. Barrett says, what Disney Plus list and Wednesday are coming for Disney Plus movies on Fridays? So the UK list, the American list, and the Canadian list are out. The Australian list hasn't dropped yet. Generally the series drop on Wednesdays and movies drop on Friday, but Fridays is just kind of like National Geographic specials. There is series and stuff being dropped on there, but that's how it used to be. But they've not really put a lot of movies in there. Let's see what else we've got here. Jody says, when is Maleficent on Disney Plus? If it's in the US, I think it's on another platform at the minute, so they've got to wait till it goes. Keenan says, I'm happy that Disney Plus is raising the prices because of more subscribers and more content on Disney Plus. Do you think they will lose subscribers like Netflix? So obviously the price is going up, and it is going to have an impact on some subscribers leaving. But the counter argument to that is Disney can kind of go, well, you've got the ad tier at the same price if you don't want to spend any more money. That's one way of doing it. They are going to lose some subscribers. They're bound to, but ultimately, you could lose 1 million subscribers, but if the price difference will kind of counteract that. The major difference is Disney Plus needs to make a profit. It's not it can't go on indefinitely losing money, and the idea of just keep getting more and more subscribers, and that will help. Yes, it does get to, there's only so many subscribers they can get. Ultimately, it has to be profitable. If it's not profitable, it ain't gonna last. So that's always a key thing. Juice says, do you think we'll see some more of the Marvel Studios special presentations? Any stories you'd like to see specifically? I would like to see them more as one-shots, kind of like one less interconnection, a little bit more fun between them, so it doesn't necessarily impact on the major MCU, because I think that's kind of the problem. We're going to see more of these because they're cheaper to make than a series, they're cheaper to make than a movie, and I think this will give them a little bit more scope to use some characters in smaller settings. And I think we're going to have a lot less. Frank says, well, since Disney Plus is launching an ad tier, will they stop licensing movies to Tubi or Freevee? Probably not, because they want the money from licensing as well. Joshua says, any idea when we'll likely find out when the pricing tier for the ad tier? I'm going to guess we're going to be getting into next year for things like this now. Yeah. Morgan says, do you think, thank you so much for your super chat. That's really good. Thank you so much for that one. Do you think the Star Wars hub could turn into Lucasfilm so they could include Indiana Jones? I think the trouble is Lucasfilm doesn't really have a big splash. They could do, but I think Star Wars as a brand is better. I mean, I feel like they probably could just put them in, if there's like a Star hub, they could maybe put them in there, or I don't know. I just don't know if a Lucasfilm hub is got the brand recognition that Star Wars does. If they get the whole hub section sorted a bit better, it might become less of an issue. Stephen says, any update on Big Sky UK? No, nothing yet. Shame, because I can't wait to see that series. My guess is that when it comes back from its mid-season break, in February, that's when we might see it. So they can do a continued run of it. That might be what they're doing. So Frank says, Sony did an attempt to get into the streaming wars with two services such as anime-based Crunchyroll and PureFlix, but the trouble is we're only going to have so many people are only going to subscribe to so many platforms, and it's not just. I mean, like for me, for example, I mean, it's not just Disney Plus and Netflix, Amazon Prime, and I've got like Sky Cinema, so I've got like Paramount Plus and like HBO kind of in that thing, and then I've got Spotify and Xbox Game Pass and PlayStation Premium, and I've got I think maybe like a season pass on like Destiny, or then you've got maybe a mobile app, and there's only so many subscriptions, and they've got the WWE Network, and I got there's only I'm spending $150 on like subscriptions and Marvel Unlimited and all these like different things. So there's so many, and there's only so many more you can kind of watch. Josh says, do you see some more channels will be closing? I think we are going to see some more channels closing. in general because they're costing them money. Kelly says Deadline also reported that Comcast is also paying off debt for Sky acquisition, so acquiring the WWE isn't feasible for the short term. If anything, Endeavor could acquire Vince's shares. Yeah, Endeavor could do it. The only good thing is that with Comcast trying to sell off its assets, whether or not it can afford to buy Hulu, or if they can make a deal where they maybe hardly any money is done. Jason says, a My Wife and Kids revival. I feel like in that case, you just do a new sitcom. You don't need to do a revival of that one. Joshua says, do you think the idea of the metaverse died with Iger's return? Well, Chapek was moving away from the M word anyway. Facebook seems to be moving away from it. I think the general consensus is this idea of what the metaverse is really depends. They could never really explain it. I mean, if the whole idea of having a metaverse was a VR helmet on and you were walking around stores and buying stuff and with your avatars and playing games and stuff, I just don't think the technology is there. It's too expensive. As someone, recently, like the PlayStation VR 2, I mean, my PSVR is a box behind here. It hasn't been out the box for 2 years. It's just like, I just don't see how that's going to work. Michael says, Disney acquire the 33 stake in so what would happen here is in January they can put in and basically say, look, we want to buy you out. But at that point, it then has to go to an independent company to then value the cost of Hulu, and then they have to they come back with a price, and then Comcast probably and Disney can probably have can you have another look? So there's going to be a little bit of argy-bargy. So it's not like the end of January it's all going to be done. It's probably going to take a long time to go. Daniel says, Roger, even though we may have enough Star Wars to watch on Disney Plus and so forth, but we can't get enough Star Wars in Disneyland and Hollywood Studios. I mean, there's a fair bit. Having gone out to Disneyland for the D23, getting to go to Galaxy's Edge, that was fantastic. I loved it. That was so cool being able to do that. Yeah, that was just so good and so good there. So yeah, more Star Wars is always good. I always loved it. Star Tours is always one of the things I love doing at Disney as well. Michael says, do you think Disney will rebrand the FX networks, including FX, FX, and FN? All the different. I don't think so. I think FX is a well-known brand, and it's kind of become like their HBO premium TV series. So I think I'm going to be honest, I've watched a lot of FX content this year. That's really good. Josh G says, what's the next retro review going to be? Well, actually, we haven't done a retro review now for podcast for probably over a year. The reason I stopped doing it was because they weren't watched or listened to very much. The numbers were massively low, and a lot of people have been asking about them maybe coming back, and I have considered it. But it's if nobody watches it, it kind of it's kind of a tricky one. But no, it is on the cards. So it is something I would like to maybe reintroduce, but it's trying to work out the best way of going forward with retro reviews and stuff. But yeah, so there's definitely something I am considering it. Babatron says, how many people will unsubscribe to HBO Max when the new streaming service is available? It's hard to tell. I think we're going to see a big shift anyway. I wouldn't even be at all surprised if this new system is going to be a lot smaller. Gary says, I don't think Crunchyroll underperformed. I don't think it did too much, but I think it's probably all right. Michael says, do you think ABC live TV on Disney Plus and live? The trouble is with live, if they put live on there, it takes away from the idea of you've got to pay for Hulu live TV. So Michael says, do you think Disney will fold 20th Century Studios into Walt Disney Pictures? Well, 20th Century Studios kind of falls under Walt Disney Pictures. They need a brand to be able to put things out like Barbarian and Avatar, so they actually need that brand for that. And as Jason says about the metaverse, the technology is not here when it comes to standalone headsets and users. The trouble is, I feel like there's only so much you can do. Let's see what else to go. Michael also says, do you think Disney fold 20th television into ABC? Now you're talking. I actually do think that they need to have a little bit of a rejig with some of their television networks and studios and align them a little bit, because 20th television and ABC signature, there is no difference. There is literally no difference. So Suna says, do you think we'll start seeing some more anime content next year? I think we will do. I think there was actually an APEC showcase coming up this week, so hopefully we'll get a few announcements about some stuff. Right, I'm going to just focus on these Patreon and YouTube ones because we've got about another 15 minutes or so left. Babak says, do you think this was planned? Did Chapek, given Chapek the company during the pandemic, I need to have Iger? It would seem a good idea that that's what he did. In hindsight, that does look like what's happened, but I don't know. I don't think he did. Dennis says, what top 5 things should Iger do across Disney during the next 2 years? So number one, find a decent replacement. That he has to do that because we can't keep limping on. We're going to need somebody new. Fix the Hulu situation. He needs to sort out the parks to get them back to get the magic back. He needs to start giving a little bit more value to people going, to take away some of the pressures from all the apps and just make it more enjoyable. More shows, more stuff. They've cut back a lot, and now they need to kind of bring it back a little bit and bring some of them, as I say, bring the magic back to the parks. That's one thing. 4, I think really kind of work out what he's doing with like linear and that. And 5 is set out a future. Give an idea of where he thinks the company can go and get the person on that's coming into it to kind of have them come up with it maybe together. Have them work on it together and work out how to do it together rather than apart. I think that might be another way. Dana says, do you think Iger will seeing how well Disney Plus internationally is doing will do the same thing in the US? I think eventually it will do. I think it has to. I don't think they've got a choice. Juice says, with Iger back as CEO, do you think it's smart for him to bring it in entirely, or they should have just stayed as an advisor and basically trained someone? Well, the trouble is, Chapek wouldn't. They just weren't getting on, so he couldn't advise. Iger was advising Chapek right up until the end of last year. So Iger's only been gone officially from the company for 11 months. I mean, yeah. So no, I think he did need somebody new him. Would Iger not be the prime candidate? Yeah, I think he just had to come back to find somebody else. Last of the pre-done questions, and then we're going to be live for the last 10-15 minutes. Dana said, I see Iger's meeting with DeSantis and working out the Reedy. I think the problem with Reedy Creek situation is it kind of goes both ways. With Chapek gone, they can kind of move away from it. DeSantis depends on what he wants to do with the president, and I think that's going to be the key thing going on. Stephen says, what will happen with your channel over Christmas with the yes, so the last one will be, let's just check the calendar. So obviously Christmas Day and New Year's Day are on Sundays when I would normally do it. So we will not be doing them normal for those 2 weeks. I probably will do one over the Christmas period as an open one for everybody. That will be my plan at some point in the Christmas and New Year, but it will not be on a night like a major day. It won't be on Boxing Day only. So I probably will do one because it depends if there's no news as well. But I will try and do a once sooner. If you could just let me know. Sorry, I was recording an extra podcast with some guests. So I haven't been able to get in and out. So soon, if you could pop that one in, the minute it drops in, I will look at that one for you. Tracy said, I keep hearing things about Kathleen Kennedy being removed from Lucasfilm. What is your take on this? She is an incredible person. She has worked on some of the biggest movies in her career. I think this whole idea of just putting all the blame on what Solo didn't do so great and Rise of Skywalker, and they did really well at the box office. They're some of the biggest ones. The story wasn't amazing on it, but she doesn't write the story. I think she's kind of like there's this whole thing with Star Wars where they're just, again, I don't know. But I think she's probably at the point where I think when her career's over, I think they might bring somebody else in. Matt says, I'd like to see them bring Dopesick onto Disney Plus. I think that would be really good. I think that would be really good if they could, because it's a fantastic series. Okay, so Suna, this one is your question. Do you think Bob Iger will add more general entertainment content on Disney Plus? 100%. he said he will do it. I think we are going to see some more content being added on there. I think it's an easy fix to help fill the gap in if they start slowing down on brand new originals. They can bring stuff in, they can share things a little bit more. I wouldn't be at all surprised if we see some more sharing between linear and the Hulu and Disney Plus. I think we might see a little bit more of that one. Yeah, so I definitely think we are going to see more, but I don't think they might not go as all in as they say. Michael says, do you think the Simpsons will go to ABC and Disney Plus? That's down to Fox, really, because they've got a really old contract, because that was a really, really old one. Right, so George says Disney should stop investing in foreign titles. They're making the same mistakes as Netflix. Oh, I probably couldn't disagree with you more at this point. The simple thing is, your idea of calling them foreign titles. What is a foreign title? Is a British show a foreign title? Is a show made in Australia, France? The simple thing is, these shows are being made for that local audience. So Aussie Kind and things like Weekend Family are being made to boost subscriptions in France. They legally have to make shows in France in order to run Netflix and Disney Plus in France. They have to make stuff. They can't just make American TV shows and that's all they make, because if you do that, most countries are like, no, we're not just, you're killing off our networks and then not replacing them with anything. So legally they have to do that. I do think as well, making local content really helps. It helps local people having their jobs. It means we get more broader range of content. I feel, we're getting a lot of content internationally that's just, different. And what, I don't want to see just more of the same schools being set in like Atlanta and in Los Angeles. We want to have more. We need to have more international content. We definitely need more of it, and it helps every country that it's Disney Plus is in needs to have their own content. The only difference is now is you can see it. These companies have been making stuff, here in the UK. I don't want to watch American TV shows all the time. I need to see stuff, and it's fascinating them watching shows from like Australia and things like that. No, so I couldn't disagree with you more. The idea of like just not investing in international shows because you don't want to watch them is just, that's about what you want to watch. It's about what we all want to watch. Yeah, Gary, yeah, it is a must-have. And as Kayla said, there's a lot of things. Having more content on Disney Plus internationally is definitely very needed. So I definitely feel like we need a lot more of it. Matt says, I think we've got a surprise drop of shows on movies on December the 8th. I don't think so. We're barely 2 weeks away. And now we've got a CEO change. So if they were going to announce it, I definitely feel like they do that. Michael also says they should add Bob's Burgers to Disney Plus. I agree. I definitely agree. Epix Gamer says after December the 8th, when the ads kicks in, do you think we'll see a Disney Plus app website redesign or more features? There probably will be some more stuff added to it. I think it will get an update. But I don't know if it'd be a huge amount. I don't think it'd be a huge amount. Jason says, with Disney Plus slowly ramping up on live streams recently, which next projects do you believe Disney could be planning? So I don't know what else they're planning. I think with live streams, you've kind of got to work out, does live streaming benefit the show? Something like with Dancing with the Stars, when it's a competition and you got people competing in it, do you need the people to be voting on it, or do you not need them? Because not all competitions have people voting. I think live concerts is really good. I think that's a really good way. The Elton John one was amazing. I love that. So I definitely I definitely feel like live. I don't think things like red carpet events. I mean, news could be one way of doing it. If they put on like Good Morning America, that might be something that they could put on there. Saeed said, when is Black Panther Wakanda Forever streaming on Disney Plus? No official confirmation yet of when that one's coming. Guessing end of January, maybe the beginning of February. So Suna says, do you think we'll see Malcolm in the Middle on December? I don't think we've got any dates. I think we should get rid of any expectations of dates. It would just be nice to see it on there. I think it would be nice to see it on there. Babatronic says, do you think Zaslav will last 3 years? Yes. yeah, he's leading. The trouble is, and I will say this really from the Disney's point of view, is Disney's in a very different position to Warner Brothers. They're in a very different situation. And there's definitely a little bit. Steven says Sky Channels will lose their TV show. Disney's going to lose DC next. Yeah. I do think Sky is going to really lack some content. Jason says only Australia. Yeah, the only live show internationally so far has been Elton John, because obviously Dancing with the Stars hasn't been live. Joshua says the Ring of Power season 2 is being filmed in England, and that brings thousands of jobs to England, even as fantasy, which I just don't like the monopoly. And Amazon, yeah, it filming stuff internationally is good. Kayla said, sorry if I took it personally. You're perfectly acceptable to do that. I just want Disney Plus to have Hindi films and TV, so older generations of my family will use it if they're not a fan of Marvel and Star Wars. And I think that's definitely a good thing. I'm surprised we've not really seen them expand on this more, with like closing down Hotstar in like Canada and the UK and moving more Hindi stuff on there. I'm surprised they've not done more of this. Ultimately, Disney Plus is a global platform now. It's in 100+ countries. There are people watching in multiple languages, from multiple backgrounds, multiple races, multiple genders, multiple sexual. It's for everybody. It's for everybody in the world. It's not just for one person, not just for one. And I think everyone has just got to accept the fact that Disney Plus is a international platform. And so therefore, if you don't want to watch Hindi shows, you don't have to watch them. If you don't want to watch drama series, if you don't want to, there'll be some people in the chat that probably don't even touch a Disney Channel show. I don't really watch them. I watch much more stuff on Star. I love the Kardashians, but I know loads of you hate them. They make it very clear that you hate the show being on there. It's about choice. And ultimately that is going to be the key thing. Is Disney Plus is about choice. Last few questions. There's so many. I must to be honest, though I did contemplate earlier today of going, when I was setting this up, I probably should make this. It's like I got that many questions on Chapek and Iger that this one's going to be really popular. So it's going to be it's definitely interesting. Epix Gamer says, when I saw your article that shareholders wanted Disney Plus to go back to family friendly, it scared me. I hope it does not happen. I look at some of the things of what they've been coming up with, some of these analysts and experts. They're very much in the American bubble and don't know what Disney Plus is like internationally. And so when they say things like, they just got to get back to the basics. And it's like, well, are we just going to make Disney Plus it only can have Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars? Is that all it can be? It's like, that's a very limited platform. And it's not going to expand much doing that. So, yeah, that's definitely. Blue City Empire. Do you think they should include Captain EO on Disney Plus? I think it would be difficult with licensing. I know when I was at Epcot last, about 5 years ago, I did get to see it again. So it'd be nice if they did. Kelly says, don't get me wrong, I love the Hotstar content on Hulu, but Hulu is a stopgap measure before Comcast. Yeah, I think the trouble as well, it would be nice it'd be just nice to be able to say it's on one platform. So Sina says, are we going to see the Spider-Man movies next year on Disney Plus? I would have hoped they would do this. I'm surprised they've not done it in the US. I think as they go into next year, a lot of all the Sony movies this year are going to be under a contract. I think Stars has still got the deal at the minute. That might be why they can't do it yet. But yeah, I'm hoping next year they get it. Joshua said, I think the problem is that each program feel rights tend to be sold individually, which means trying to get all the programs globally is an expensive pain. I think it is. I think it's easier when you're creating a brand new show. I mean, when you're creating something brand new, it's much easier. Going back and retrospectively changing something, it's much harder, especially if it's been sold off, because a lot of the international shows gets sold off all over the place. But yeah, I think when they're creating a brand new series, it's a lot easier. So Daredevil. Do you think we could see Nickelodeon stuff on Disney Plus? No. Frank says Black Oh, it's not BlackBerry. Brickleberry originally had post-credit scenes that were on Comedy Central, but it's nowhere to be seen on Disney Plus or Hulu. I don't know. I've never seen that one. Knoxwave says, since Iger's back as CEO, do you think he will slow down the releases for Marvel and Star Wars? I think he's going to slow them down because of money, I think. And looking at this concept of fatigue, looking at the data from like Andor and She-Hulk and Miss Marvel, and realizing that the viewership numbers is dropping with each series. And they're kind of losing what's special about them by having too much. So I think they definitely need to do it. Michael also says, Apple buys the Walt Disney Company. I can't see it. I cannot see it becoming, I cannot see how they could legally get that through. I think most companies would be very against that. Gary also says, and realized that Disney Plus has a different print of Spy Family X episode 21, particularly on a scene where Twilight and Nightfall speak in code. Text shows up along with a typewriter tapping on Disney Plus. Not sure. I have no idea what that one is, but yeah, I expect there's like little issues and stuff. Michael says Disney buys Entertainment One from Hasbro. I think that would be a good purchase. I think that would be a really good purchase for them. Let's see what else we've got here. Right, so I'm going to probably wrap up. Probably going to wrap up now. I know there's so many questions. I'm sorry, I just can't get them all on everyone. It's just time. But thank you so much for your support. Thank you to everyone that sent in the super chats. Thank you to all of our Patreon and YouTube channel members with all of your support. I'll be back next week with another live Q&A, and again that will be for Patreon and YouTube channel members only. But yeah, so thank you so much. And on that note, guys, thank you very much. See you guys soon. Laters.